Hello YouTubers, and today I thought I'd do something a little bit different. So I wasn't quite sure what to do for today's video, so I decided, hey, why not review a Big Finish story? So what one should I choose? And I literally just went through my catalogue of Big Finishes that I've purchased and just picked a one at random, and this is the one I've picked for today. So this is Doctor Who, The Yes Men by Simon Gary by Simon. There we go. And what do I think of this story? So I'm going to give a brief plot synopsis. Some robots on a planet decide that they want to be like the humans that they serve. They want to be like humans, so they have their own sort of literal underground society where they act like humans and they learn from humans and start acting like humans. And there's a whole thing with one of the Doctor's friends, or someone the first Doctor met in the past, supposedly being dead. So yeah, there's a few things happening there. I won't give anything else away from the plot. Basically, I'm trying to make this review as spoiler-free as possible. So I'm just going to talk about what I think of the story and also the performance and the writing. So to be honest, the story does have an interesting way of progressing. Although to be honest, its first half is better than its second half. The whole plot of a character supposedly being dead, but why, is the most interesting thing in the story, because in the first couple of parts of the story, the Doctor's friend is who the first Doctor met is supposedly dead. However, whenever they ask around and ask these robots what was her cause of death, the robots keep giving a different reason each time. Everything from brain trauma to a heart attack to murder. Basically, every type of demise under the book is said. And to be honest, that is the most interesting part of the story. But unfortunately, after about halfway through the story, that goes away. And there's a reason why that goes away. But it's just like, that would have been a much more interesting story. Yet, the second half of the story is a lot less interesting, as it's basically, and a spoiler alert, it's a robot uprising and robots wanting to be treated as equals to the humans. It's just like, it's one of these again. I mean, it's not bad, but the things you were doing in Parks 1 and 2 was so much more interesting, and it got you questioning, thinking, what could be the case? What could be happening? Why is there multiple guesses? Something time related? And no, none of that actually matters in the end. It's just your typical robot sort of uprising because they've learnt to be like humans, and now they feel like they should also be treated as equal to humans. And it's just like, I mean, it's not bad, to be honest, but it's just not as good as it could have been, because it had the ideas there, but it decided not to run with them and instead run with something completely different. I mean, there are entertaining bits in the second half. For example, the robots start learning from Jamie, and there's a bit where they actually say Kregatua, which, to be honest, is a bit of an entertaining bit of the story. But other than that, good, really good and interesting first half, but the second half does let it down by basically being your bog standard robots uprising plot. Now, what does sell this is obviously the performances, particularly by Annika Wills and Fraser Hines. Now, Fraser Hines is obviously playing Jamie in the story, but he's also playing the second Doctor, and I think Fraser Hines is brilliant as a Patrick Troughton impersonator. To be honest, I don't think you should ever get anyone else to do his voice, because I know some people, when they hear his impression of Patrick Troughton, they go, "Oh yeah, it's decent, though it doesn't sound like him." But the thing is, when you're in the story and you're listening to it, a lot of the time you do forget that it's actually Fraser Hines performing it, since he really, although he doesn't sound exactly like Troughton, what he does get is all of Troughton's mannerisms and the way Troughton speaks as well. But, he does sound like Troughton as well. And I think that's something he never gets enough credit for, is that he really nails the mannerisms and the way that Patrick Troughton speaks. And it makes sense. I mean, they worked there for years, and they know each other for even longer. So, yeah, it makes sense that, obviously, out of all the people, Fraser Hines would do the best. I mean, even David Troughton said that Fraser Hines gave Goog's impression of his father. But anyway, other than that, there's not really a lot to say. Elliot, Cameron, I'm dyslexic. Can you tell? Who plays Ben? He does a really good. He doesn't really do the best impression of Ben, but again, he really nails the mannerisms of it, and I think that's something to really be held accountable for. Is that if you're doing an impression of a character, you've got to nail the mannerisms in which they speak. Otherwise, it sounds more like you're doing an impression and less like their actual speech. But anyway, pretty much, the good performances across the board, as obviously they are, and obviously Annika Wills is obviously great in the story as well. And she does get quite a few things to do. Basically, she is paired up with the Doctor for the entire story, and to be honest, Jamie and Ben don't have much to do in the story, to be honest. And there is a reason for that, is that originally this was initially sort of planned as a companion chronicle initially. So basically, and it was just going to be narrated by Annika Wills, and maybe Fraser Hines as the second Doctor. But later on, it became an early adventures story. So that's kind of why Ben and Jamie sort of get carted off and are absent for quite a bit of the story. Although, to be honest, in a way, as they do say in the behind the scenes, it is a lot like Classic, where you can just say, oh, well, the actors have gone on holiday or gone off to go do something else for a week and then come back the following. And yeah, I do quite like that. But overall, this story is a one that is fine. It's fine, but that's all I can really say about it. So it's a big finish that is a solid piece. And to be honest, when you are listening to it, you are enjoying it. And there wasn't a part of the story where I was going, I'd rather be listening to something else. I did enjoy it, but it's one of those stories where you listen to it once and then kind of forget it exists. If you know what I mean. It's one of those ones where I would never go out of my way to listen to it, but if I was forced to listen to it, then I would have an enjoyable enough experience of it. I'm just not going to remember it in T-minus 5 seconds. But yeah, if you do happen to see this one on offer, then it's worth the purchase. I would not pay the full price for it. I would wait for it to go on sale. I certainly did. I got this particular story on a sale with the Doctor Who magazine issue number 539, I think it was, where I paid, I think it was just under half price, or about half price for it. So, yeah, that price, I'd say, yeah, fine, it kills a couple of hours, and it's enjoyable enough time for that. But otherwise, I would say it's a pretty easy miss. Anyway, let me know what you think of the story if you've listened to it, and let me know if there's any big finishes you'd like me to review in the future, or anything else. Whatever. Anyway, that does it for this video, and I'll see you